Welcome to Great Talking Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the YouTube channel where I review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Welcome, everyone. My name is KJ, and I'm your host, and this is my spoiler review for the new series on FX, Hulu / Disney Plus, and Disney Plus Hulu, Alien Earth Episode 1 spoiler review. If you have not seen this, please pause this. But before you go, could you hit the thumbs up button? I truly appreciate if you did that. Come back and let me know what you think about Episode 1 of Alien Earth. So again, this is a spoiler review. Y'all been warned. Now, let's get into it. This episode starts off with a description explaining that in the future, the race for immortality will become in 3 guises, which is like a cybernetical, enhanced humans, and cyborg, which is like or artificial intelligence, I should say, AI basically. And the sense begins downloaded with human concoction or conscience to another body, basically. And you know, this is like not a new story type. This type of story has been told in other sci-fi type stories and movies and shows, of course, but it gives you that. And you know, like, these are kind of like a hybrid of a human being. They're really good, really fast, really quick, and the technology prevails will determine what corporation rules the universe. And this is just to give the viewers the idea of what the human race is in this universe. And we see a spaceship, and it's run by artificial intelligence. Some are human, some are not. Like, there's human like you and I, and then there's AI human, and then there's just that cyborg, and then there's a hybrid of it where it's a little bit of both, you know. And you know, this shows it takes what years it takes place in the year 2120. And the mission that takes place has been going on for 65 years. And this scene just shows, you know, all type of different type of the humans just waking up from a long sleep. You know, again, this is your typical sci-fi space show or movie. And there's a good amount of different type of humans on here on this ship. And they're just trying to do this one mission, in which we find out that the main mission is to bring this alien, and it's the alien that is from the classic, you know, and they have to bring this down. Now, there's some shady stuff that goes on through this whole episode, of course, and pretty much this whole season. And we see this one cyborg, and he pretty much is communicating with somebody from the corporation, and he's letting them know what's going down on this spaceship. And we also see in this episode on planet Earth, on an island called Neverland, run by a corporation called the Protogees. And the best way I got out of this is where, like, they do test subjects and they do experiment on each other that maybe it's not okay to do. And we see some are cloning. And what's very interesting, they're using the Peter Pan story, and it's helped to transfer a soul into a made body. Now, they're gonna show throughout this whole season, basically, there's different ways to make somebody this. There's different ways of cloning somebody. And there's also just an idea of what is to become of this. Now, what's interesting when I mentioned they're using like Peter Pan story in this, and also I believe in episode 2, which I'll talk about that in a different spoiler review, you see the movie Ice Age. Now, just to clarify why this is actually happening in this show is because number one, Disney bought Fox 21st Century, and so now they own the rights to these characters, and so Disney can use their own. Well, since they own this property, they can add their other properties that they've been owning into this. And now Ice Age again was owned by Fox, but again Disney a long time ago by now has bought that company, but they're using the IP property to tell a unique story within this universe, which is based off of the older Alien movies and stuff. So interesting take on it, and it's obviously Disney has gave them the okay to use these in their actual show, and it's just footage. But the idea of like they're using this particular the Disney Peter Pan and the episode 1, and pretty much I'm telling you now, this is gonna be through the whole season. And I'm pretty sure there's like the original story of Peter Pan as well. So it's a little bit of mixture of everything. But they use Peter Pan character reference, like, there's spaceships, there's it's gonna be like space pirates in a way. And it's gonna be very interesting take on it. And I would have never imagined that they would use this particular franchise to tell a unique story. But I'm excited for it in that way. So, again, it's very interesting. And they're pretty much, this story is just adding on to what this franchise has already done before. So, nothing new as far as with the artificial humans, the cyborgs, all that. There's nothing new as in the Alien franchise. This is just, now they're just adding more to it, to stuff that what we're calling it in today's side. This is pretty much art imitating life, basically. So it's gonna be really definitely a sci-fi ride as a show, and honestly I like it for that. So in the next scene we see this little girl who has some type of sickness like a cancer, and throughout this whole episode and episode 2, of course, that a lot of these kids who subconsciously been transferred into a body are still kids, right? They still a child. And so the idea is like these kids, the idea of calling it the Neverland is like the kids are ruling the world and the adults are just, I don't know, they're gone, or I don't know. I don't know yet. But it's going down. So the kids, to me, it's kind of like the idea of the kid. This is in a way, you're seeing this story through the eyes of a child, even though they're in an adult custom-made body. So just get in that, because I kind of noticed that people's memories are now in this child, but I don't know if it's the original memories of this child. But now she becomes Wendy, and obviously this is Wendy that's based off Wendy from the Peter Pan movie. And she is more enhanced with speed, agility, and she's strong. And it seems the idea of, do you consider yourself a human or not? And what we see is Wendy is assigned to be a big sister and to help convince other kids feel safe and want to do this. And she, in her own way, is like Peter Pan at this scene, at this moment. But the real Peter Pan of this episode is the CEO of this company, Prodigy. And but for this moment, she's the big sister. She might be like the Tinkerbell of this, but who knows? Who knows? I don't know yet. But she's convincing them. She's in the lab, and she's very good at what she does. And again, she still has she might be in somewhat of an adult body, but she's still a little girl inside, in the soul, in the subconscious of it. So she's a little, and she's a hybrid. She's AI, she's cyborg, and she's also human, and she's cloned. So it's a little bit of everything, right? And it, this started to feel like a future realistic version of Peter Pan. Now, the aliens have been released and they're destroying all the crew on this ship and the human cyborg has purposely just locked himself into the room where the ship pretty much steers itself. But what I like about that too, just to take a break before I keep summarizing this episode, is what's going on that spaceship and what we're seeing on planet Earth is the idea of living forever, right? And creating a new species of life. And since the corporations are pretty much ruling the world, it's who's gonna enhance the human population in a better way in their mind, or how far can they go above, because the idea of curing cancer and all diseases sounds perfect, sounds wonderful, and it sounds possible, but this is art in a way imitating life. So again, you have a bunch of that going on and stuff. So I thought that was pretty interesting with that. And again, so now the cyborg guy, which his name is Morrow, which is Morrow. He purposely just lets it happen, and he's just typing in the reports that I guess it's supposed to say. It's just a cover up to what they're trying to do. And he pretty much just goes in his little safe place, and the alien tries to rip it to pieces, but obviously it fails. If he fails. So I thought this scene was pretty exciting, and it was intense. Like, it was kind of like it felt like a horror. Like, oh no, can I escape? And you see a lot of blood, a lot of death. And then, so I like that. That was pretty cool. I mean, it's a sci-fi movie. Like, that's what you get. And now the ship is heading towards Earth. Now, in this scene, I feel like the plot is either the artificial intelligence or like a cyborg or taking over the human race, or Cavalier, who wants to use the alien bodies, maybe, or transfer the alien into a artificial intelligent clone body. But he's the Cavalier is the boy genius, and he does a lot of the way he talks and speaks. He's very smart and intelligent, but he has that Peter Pan mentality at the best. Because like I'm not gonna say he's like Captain Hook, because we don't know who would be like the Captain Hook of this show yet. But I'm pretty sure I'll find it, right? And so it's one of those. That's the only thing I could see out of this. Then we see downtown New Siam Prodigy, and we meet this guy named Joe DiMangi. Now he's not the baseball player, but he's a doctor, and he just named him after that baseball player. based off of Wendy. And this is Wendy's brother, and he witnesses the spaceship to crash on Earth. Throughout this episode, different alien species are attacking the humans and at Wendy and the lost crew as they're on their way. And it was really interesting. Wendy can spy on everybody, and we know that the corporation are spying on everybody. So they have cameras in everybody's personal homes, apartments, where they work at. They can spy through your phone. These corporations are spying on them. And so Wendy can hack into them. And so she's paying attention to her brother. And it seems like Wendy's brother is still in his original human form. Like, this is Joe. Now, he calls himself Hermit. So I don't know where this goes, but what it is he's a doctor, and he wanted to help. He's in the a military group, and they went to check this out, and Wendy saw the whole thing. And now Wendy convinced the CEO of this company of Neverland to go, and he calls the crews the Lost Boys. So this is definitely like a Peter Pan reference at its best. And so we see in this episode that it's getting a little tense, and now the aliens have crash landed on planet Earth, and it's about to get bloody, and it's about to get messy. And so that's how it kind of ended on this. So what did I think about episode 1? Episode 1, to me, I really like the plot. I like where they're going with this. I like the Peter Pan reference to this. And I like the Ice Age reference, which I'll talk about later. But I thought that was really cool. It's really cool that we're seeing this story through the eyes of a child, but we're also getting like this idea that everybody's kind of shady. These corporations are shady, and they're not telling the truth. And so I thought, okay, this is going to be, to me, there's going to be like two stories. The human stories, whether they're AI, cyborgs, artificial intelligence, or hybrids, humans, I think the story for that in this whole season 1 of Alien Earth is that there's going to be a war with the human society. But I also believe that there's going to be a bigger war when this alien finds a way to contact the other alien species of its particular species, and it's going to call them down to Earth. And they're probably going to annihilate planet Earth a lot. And so, to me, I like the idea of it, but I feel like I can tell what I didn't like about some of this in episode 1 is these two stories are kind of overlapping each other, and they're not blending in very well at times. But I do like I do like where it's going, just because at least they're gonna try to cover up the overlap of the story with a lot of action, high intense moments, because they're using a lot of horror in it, because they want you to be scared of this alien creature. They want you to see everybody who encounters this alien creature to be scared, and like their life is literally on the line. Because if this alien catches you, it's literally gonna like eat you alive. And then it's gonna impregnate you, and it's gonna give birth, just like the classic Alien. And what's interesting too, the timeline of this is taken in the 1979 movie Alien. So this is a prequel before that, because this one is the year is year 2120, And the 1979 Alien movie and timeline in that movie takes place in the year 2122. And so this is before Ellen Ripley, who's the main character of that. What I like about that is, to me, is like, okay, it's showing how things are created. This is showing like this is what's going on within this, and it's kind of foreshadowing a lot of things. So if you remember watching that movie, which it's available on Hulu and Disney Plus, so definitely check that out, please. But it's really good. I like it. So I wonder, like, where is Ellen Ripley a child or a teenager or a young adult? And is Wendy the mother of her? Who knows? But that's what I'm kind of thinking that's where it's going to take place. So I like that. As far as like the graphics, the CGI, the VFX effect, I thought it was really good for a TV show. Really well done. You know, a lot of it's dark. They keep it dark and dim a little bit, but still really good show. And the actors and actresses, really great cast, crew. Like, the dialogue is really good. It's not dry. It's not boring. And you know what? They really go in really good detail in the dialogue when they're explaining something. When you see two characters talking about something, it's very dramatic and it's very heartfelt. And you can tell which one's artificial. You can tell which one's a cyborg. You can tell one's just a regular human. And you can just see how society is in this universe. So I really like that. And the way they did this alien creature in here, I thought was really neat. I love the graphics to this creature, and they kind of modified it just a little bit. It's not as what it used to look like in, obviously, 1979, but the technology of producing a film back in the day, they didn't have the cameras, the high definition quality work in 1979 in real life. So, you know, they modify that creature, but it still looks like what you remember it when watching these films. So I like that. And I really like the villains in here, the corrupted corporations, knowing that like a kid, there's a kid in a man's body that's just who's like ruling the rule and creating all these clones and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. Like, this person is gonna be a bad man pajama. So I like that, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see more. So if I had to give this episode 1 out of 10, I'm definitely gonna give it a 7. It's a really good, but again, I think the two stories that's going on, there's the human story and then there's this alien story. They're kind of a little bit of overlapping because they're trying to, in a way, be more dramatic with the dialogue. They're trying to really they're really trying to show so much in one episode, and I think it's just overlapping. But luckily, again, the only reason why it's not a big deal, because as long as they have action or like a high intense scary moment, I think people will overlook the plot of it. So not a bad idea, but I wish they wouldn't overlap it that much. So that's just my opinion. But again, it's not a bad episode, and this is not a bad series so far. So it's worth the watch, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Now, what do I think about like how they're trying to explain this? I think they're trying to retcon some stuff that they try to explain it in the 1979 movie, but they're trying to use today's words like AI, artificial intelligence. They're trying to use cyborg, but do it in more the way a lot of movies today do stories like this. Not like alien stories, but just about AI, cloning, and other things like that. I think they're trying to do it the way it's in modern day movies and shows like that now. So it's a little, I think it's a little overwhelming with it, but again, it's still fun to watch, and I really enjoy the characters because we're learning about Wendy, we're learning about her past, and we're learning about these kids with like a real bad sickness who are not sick no more. And it's really scary what they do with their bodies. And they kind of do explain it, but they kind of don't at the same time. But I'm sure they're saving that for later. But again, I think it's not a bad thing what they're doing as a plot of this story. But other than that, I liked it. I really liked this show. And so far, so good with it. So that's my spoiler review, guys. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment Official Channel. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you can always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you, guys, and peace out.